Hey there Tolkien fans, this is Wesatron. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Lord of the Rings The Two Towers Crossbow Uruk-Hai figure. This was by Toy Biz and came out several years ago. I'm not exactly sure the year. But I paid, I think, about 15 bucks after shipping for this from Amazon.com. And I'm pretty excited to have this guy. I've been getting more into the orcs that I missed out over the years and stuff. I'm getting excited about The Hobbit coming out, so I'm trying to pick up some of these older releases. And I wanted to get a more highly articulated orc. And this guy has got, I can see, double elbows, double knees, and things like that. Very cool stuff. Very excited about it. Removable helmet, always cool. He's got a crossbow action that I'm really interested in because just from the design here, from the instructions, I don't really understand how it works exactly, because it says to push a button on his back to fire the thing in his hand, but I don't really see how it's going to work because there's no mechanism in his arms, because as you saw there's double elbows. So it'd be interesting to see how this all works out. Here's the bio if anybody wants to take a quick look at that. Hopefully it stays focused long enough. You can pause it. And, there's no cross cells on this one. This is the newer packaging that they used, instead of the half moon packaging, far less in the way of extraneous packaging. But, yeah, I'm excited to get this guy. Let's open him up and see what we got. And here's the Crossbow Uruk-Hai out of package. I'm going to pull out just a little bit, just so you guys can see, because this is actually a really, really big figure. I've got Uruk-Hai's leader, Lurtz, here, who I can stand up next to him, and you'll see, Lurtz was, I guess you're supposed to assume he's the biggest one. He always seemed the biggest, but this Crossbow Uruk-Hai, even hunched down like this, is right at the same height as Lurtz, so this is a big toy. Now, as far as the action feature, it's very similar to the one that does come with Lurtz, where basically you press the button and his arm draws back, which for him was super useful with this bow and arrow, and it actually works really, really well. I was actually really impressed by Lurtz when I got him out of package. With the Uruk-Hai, it's much trickier. You have to be very careful how you set this up, but essentially there's this button on the back, there's a hinge, a lateral hinge, or a vertical hinge, I guess I should say, that runs right through here, so that when you push back on this, his shoulder pulls back. And then this is just, you don't use the string at all on the crossbow. This is just a regular spring-loaded missile launcher, basically. So I'm going to press the button on his back, and hopefully... Oh, that's out of the way. I had it working for a second, but you have to line this up like just right, or it's not going to work. So there you go. Let me see if I can actually get it to do what it's supposed to do. See, the trick is you have to have it like lined up so that you're just pulling his arm enough to trigger the button, but you can't have enough tension on it to actually pull the button. There we go. That's how it works. And it actually does shoot pretty far. It's a nice missile launching feature. It's not something that I'm going to use a lot, but it is neat that it actually does work, but you will have to be a little fiddly with it. So I think we're beyond the years of people actually buying these figures for their kids, but I imagine that could have been pretty fiddly back when. So let's go ahead and get the crossbow out of his hand real quick. And he doesn't hold it like a standard crossbow would have been held, which would have had his hand more on this area back here. You see, it's really nice wood. He actually holds it on a trigger up here, which, I don't know, that may have been the design of the movie. It's just traditional crossbows that I've seen actually have a bar that come down like here. It might have even been this one up here, for that matter, that drops this piece here, or, I'm sorry, drops this piece back here and fires the arrow. But still, this thing looks great. They did a great wash on it. Kind of some dry brushing, I guess I should say, not wash. They did do a wash on the wood, though. They did some dry brushing on the iron to make it really look good. There's a little peg here so that it fits real sturdily into his left hand. So that's really nice. You don't have to worry about whenever you pull this button on his back that it's going to like pull the crossbow out of his hand. Very cool. So that's the crossbow. I dig it a lot. I think it's going to look great just posed in his hands, even though I'm not going to use the action feature much. I just get him stood up real quick. And again, I'll bring in Lurtz for comparison. Oops. Okay. Who does not want to stand now? There we go. You can see the Crossbow Uruk-Hai is much bigger than Lert's. And I know that's been a criticism from a lot of people that the orcs are just too big. I'm kind of, as I said, I've been filling in that part of the collection that would have been the orcs, so this is all kind of new to me, but he does seem pretty large, which I don't totally mind because I don't mind my orcs towering over my humans. It just makes them more imposing. So to each his own on that. It's completely up to you. So the helmet is removable. He's got this great visage underneath, this just like mad, crazy looking dude. Very, very awesome. Great detail on the teeth, the eyes. If that'll focus, you'll see very cool, very crazy. They look like all the close-ups you saw of Lert's in the movie, which is very cool. The helmet itself, this part right here should be flat. It shouldn't run up over his eyes like that. It should be flatter, which I can probably fix with some hot water. If you haven't checked out the boiling video, that's down in the how-to stuff. But basically there's these little flaps here, and that just kind of hooks around his head just like so. And it stays on there very securely. It's not going anywhere. It's a very soft rubber, so that's cool. But yeah, the mail on this guy is great. Like these little individual rings. I do have a little bit of like glue, it seems like, here and there, like this bit right here, a little extra glue. I think there was a little bit, yeah, over here somewhat, but there's not a whole lot of slop, really. These rings could probably have a little more silver on them, which is something I can fix, but you know, you should never have to fix your toys. I think it's just a matter of, it could be a matter of the rust effect from here, and that they wanted to get a rust effect on the male too, but I think because the skin is red, it just comes off a little bit like they overpainted on the red. I'm not positive, really, because like I said, I am new to these, so, but that is a situation that you want to look out for if you are buying this figure in a store. Oh yeah, the bag back here does carry all of his other arrows, and he's got 2, 4, 5, I guess, 5 total. So that's pretty cool. Nice leather-looking pouch, stiff plastic, surprisingly. And I think this will move around a little bit. I think it's free-floating, but it's not wanting to move right now, so I'm not going to mess with it too much. Then the armor, you can see it's very nice and dented. It's got lots of nice little, what do you want to call them, dimples in the armor? I'm not sure. Very nice chainmail again. Some nice over here. You can see the rust on it. Looks great. The plate mail on the hands there looks really good. More chainmail. The chainmail right here looks outstanding. I mean, you can see the lengths to which they went. The lengths to which they went. Thank you for actually making this look like it's strung together chainmail. So that's very, very cool. He's got like a spiked glove over here on the left. Very, very cool. Just in general, I really like the look. The design of it is really good, and they replicated it really well for the action figure. So, very nice. And of course, there's some straps back here for, I guess, holding the armor on. But as far as articulation, there we go. He's got a little bit of a ball-jointed head, a little bit of up and down and side to side and stuff. It's very loose. It's almost bobbleheadish, which is a little silly. It doesn't get a great range of motion, but it will look, you know, left and right, which is pretty good, considering the time this was made. I mean, this is well ahead of its time. He's got a swivel hinge, I think. Yeah, there's a swivel hinge over here, but it's very tight. It's not wanting to go out at all. So I'm not going to mess with that too much. Swivel at the bicep. Over here, he goes up and down and in and out, basically, for the action feature. So he'll be able to do kind of that, but there's not real articulation there. Double hinge elbows on both sides, swivel wrists on both sides. There's a waist cut, but it's underneath the armor. So this armor is like one rubber overlay, and the legs can swivel underneath it at the waist, but like if you try to grab his midsection, it's not going to turn and you may end up breaking your figure, so be careful. We've got swivel hinge, swivel hips, and they are the good kind that go in at 90 degrees, so they go forward and back. You are hindered by the skirt to a degree. They go out very far to the sides on both sides, and then of course there's a swivel in the upper thigh. Double hinge knees are very smooth. They don't get a quite perfect bend there, but they get a pretty good range of motion, so you can get them hunched down pretty low if you like. No swivel in the calf here, but there is a hinged ankles, which go back about that far, and forward about that far. So pretty good range in the ankles, along with my favorite, the rocker joint, which is very nice. It actually has a great range of motion, so you can get into much deeper stances while still looking natural. So as I said, I paid $15 for this guy shipped, which I would say, considering the quality of the things we're seeing on the shelves now, it's a great deal. I mean, for $16, you're getting far less impressive toys nowadays. Granted, they don't have action features that hamper the articulation, but this guy, I don't mind the action feature. I think it's cool, and it works. They still give him enough articulation where he works doing what he does best, which is to hold the crossbow. So that's very cool for me. I'm down with that. I don't need him to be super articulated because he doesn't come with a sword or anything else like that. But he's got enough articulation to look like he can hold the crossbow convincingly, and even occasionally get his action feature to work. But yeah, this figure looks great. The price I paid for it is good. He's going for a bit more if you turn to eBay. I'm going to have trouble getting that in there right now, so I won't worry about it. But yeah, this figure, I would have to say, at the time, I would have given it solid 10 out of 10. Now, I'll still give it a 9.5 out of 10 for the price. It's an amazing figure. I would have liked to have seen a little better paint on the male in the shoulders, and perhaps a little better range of motion in the right arm. I think they still could have put a swivel there, although it might have affected the action feature. I'm not positive. But yeah, this is a great action figure. This is the Crossbow Uruk-Hai from the Two Towers line. Highly recommend it if you find it for 20 bucks or less. That's pretty much it. Thank you guys for all the comments and the new subscribers. I really appreciate it. I'll talk to you guys soon. Thanks. Bye.